Hi, this is Dan Z from Coffee with Kenobi, and you are listening to Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age. Aaron, you do it better, buddy. I did my best.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
In 1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All of it.
One of resistance,
We are a spark that'll light the fire that'll bring the First Order down.
rebellion,
Rebellion is built on hope.
and redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. Long time no talk to. Hope y'all are doing well. It's good to be back. We missed you. Welcome to Star Wars Reactions. Like I said, we are going to have a great time tonight. So let's dust off the rust, dust off the dirt, and let's get the introductions out of the way so we can talk some Shadow Lord. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me is the co-host with the most, the David Motters. David, brother, what's up?
What's up, my brother? Oh man, just good to be back. It's been a while, and of course, I'm ready to react. And look, some series make it easy to do episodes. This is there's so much to talk about. We won't have enough time, but it's a good problem to have.
It is a great problem to have, and it has been something I've been looking forward to coming out since it was announced. I've been very curious and about what they were going to do and how they were going to do it, and I love what they've done so far. So we're not going to hold back. If you can't tell, we are discussing the first two episodes of Maul Shadow Lord, which was recently released. And got a lot of great things to talk about. First episode, of course, was called The Dark Revenge. This one, of course, directed by Stuart Lee, Saul Ruiz, and Nate Villanueva. Written by my favorite name to say, Matt Mechnovitz. And, and of course, synopsis for this episode, which is the first episode that you see when you watch the series, is in the criminal underworld of Janix. Maul enacts a plan to consolidate power. The second episode we got this week was called Sinister Schemes. Directed by Saul Ruiz, written by my favorite name in the world, Matt Mechnovitz. I really need to get him on the show just so I could say his name a few hundred times. As well. The synopsis for this episode: Maul seeks to enlighten his new prisoners while Lawson pursues him. Of course, both these episodes released on premiere day, which of course was April 6th, 2026. So we will go ahead and put this out because we're releasing this 4 days after these premiered. So I will go ahead and throw it out there that if you have not watched these yet, there will be spoilers. This is your warning. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Mer, 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 mer. Wee, wee, wee. Mer, mer, mer. There you go. That's your spoiler alert.
I thought you were a Spybot for a minute. you go- are you doing the voice of Spybot and not David Collins?
I tell you what, Dan, Spybot's pretty stinking cool. I mean, that's a pretty cool bot. Um, and David Collins is, there's no touching David Collins. He's just fantastic in everything he does. So, but let's go ahead and jump into this discussion with our initial reactions. And since it's our first time back behind the mic, David, my brother, take it away, my friend.
Well, you know, it always feels like on some of these initial reactions. Well, I know. I think you and I have been very fair over the years. If we love something, we say it. If we don't, we say it. For this, I have so many um, superlatives. I love the look. I love where it's set. I love that noir feel. Right? I love that. I just think that's so cool. The detective film noir kind of
Yep.
setting, mystery, trying to figure things out. Um, we're up here last September for Ocala Comic Con. 2 years prior, in September 2023, Sam Witwer's here. And it was so cool to meet him. And of course, at that time, he knew probably about all this and probably they were going to get started filming and recording and all that. But I love him. I love him as an actor. I love his voice as Maul. I just think the dude is so cool. So when it was announced last April, right? I mean, if you can
Hmm.
believe that, at Celebration in Japan, and we had to wait an entire year. It's already here, but I was excited, and you could tell how excited Sam was. And so, if he's excited about something, then I'm on board. I'm ready to go. So, still cool that, of course, you and I saw Vanessa Marshall back in September. She knew that she was going to be Rook again, but didn't say anything. So it's cool to hear her voice in there as well, along with Sam, and really kind of she's right up there. It's really Maul, Rook, and Brander Lawson, kind of those three voices. But I love everything so far. We're 2 episodes into the 10, and I'm on board. And like I said, I have so much to talk about. But let me stop there and get your initial reactions.
Well, I tell you, watched these Monday when they released, when I got home from work, and I came to a realization, and it's something that I've always known, but I've never really said. Animation is my Star Wars. I love the movies, but there's just something magical and special about the animation that just captures me every time. I can't, I mean, it's whether it was the Clone Wars, Rebels, of course, Bad Batch, Resistance, and now Maul. I mean, there's just something about it that hooks me and draws me in. And um, I just can't get enough of it. I will say a lot of that's probably the Kiners, because I love the music they do for all these series. So it's not there. There's that consistency, but there's just something special about watching Star Wars in animation, for me at least, that you know. I I will say I will, as much as I love the movies. If you give me the option to watch the movies or watch one of these animated series, I'm probably going to pick a series, one of the animated series, because that's just, for some reason, I have connected with those even more than the movies now, which is insane for me to say because I grew up on the movies. So, so going into this series, um, I think you probably saw the text, David, too, in our group chat. Not even 5 seconds in, I was texting, all right, I'm hooked. Kiner's music, I'm hooked. I could tell just seconds into that first episode, boom, Kiner's. I'm in, I'm done, I'm sold. That's it. Um, and I think, and saying that's kind of ironic, especially with David Collins doing a voice in this, and he hosts also his own podcast, the Soundtrack Show, where he talks about how music is so involved and is in these movies, and really is the breath of the movies, of all kinds of movies, and it definitely is in this case as well. Um, it- but I love this. It was dark. It was brooding. The action scenes were incredible, but it was a start to what was going to be a long story. And I like that. But it didn't feel like it was a slow burn, but it didn't feel like a slow burn, if you know what I'm saying. Um, so yeah, I loved everything about these first two episodes. And it's left me on the hook for wanting more.
Nice,
So,
nice.
so let's go ahead and jump into to a few to these talking points, and just gonna shoot the breeze about it. Um, so we gather this is not long, of course, after Revenge of the Sith. Of course, we know Maul's Shadow Collective got disbanded. We see that at the end of Clone Wars and so forth. So he is trying to consolidate power again and regain control of what was once a vast criminal empire. But he's doing first is he's cleaning house, like every good gangster does when he comes back. He's cleaning house. He's getting rid of the traitors. Um, so it had a very mafia movie style feel to it. You know, I half expected him to look at somebody and be like, "I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse." So, at one point, Varys is going to wake up with a horse head under his blanket, but or in this case, it probably may not be a horse head, but maybe a porg head. Who knows? But it had a great feel to it, which is very unique compared to some of the other shows we've gotten. And Clone Wars had its dark episodes. Rebels had some dark ones. Resistance was just so bright wasn't funny. Bad Batch had its darker side, but something about this is totally underworld in this. Um, so we're seeing a lot darker, menacing feel to what's going on. Um, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that because it's very different than what we've seen in other Star Wars. I mean, even with Andor, if you go to live action, even Andor, which was a slow burn, very, very excellent show, but even did not have this darker side to it. And what is your feel on the darker side of Star Wars that we're starting to see in this?
Yeah, I start thinking about what you and I have heard many podcasts, many Star Wars fans talk about was the famous canceled 1313.
Yes,
Right. Either what video game or
the
show, right?
video game.
Right, and then the scripts and all this stuff. So I think about that. It's not set on Coruscant, but on this planet, called Janix, and um, it does. It really sets the stage for for a mall. I do like it. It's dark. It is gritty. And, one of the things I think about is you said it. It's like Andor, but with the Force, right?
Mhm.
Andor didn't have it, but here you've got it, with Maul and with obviously Devon, the young Jedi Padawan. And so I love that combination, right? And so that's hard to beat.
Mhm.
Like you said, between music and setting, it's just, I think it's just gorgeous. Like I said, I love it. I love seeing Lawson walk through the kind of the lower levels of this particular city. Because I said, the first time when I got done watching it, like you, I didn't take it all in. Second time tonight watching, I'm like, oh wait, they do show some scenes up above, almost at surface level, brighter, but not
Mhm.
much, but kind of gave a feel that yes, the sun does come out and there is a bit of that, but I just thought it was super cool. This setting, like I said, the best I can think of is Andor with the Force.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely does have that feel. With with Janix, you talked about the setting and how dark it is, and of course, there's a scene where you see the sun come out and everything with Lawson especially when he's there talking to his kid in their apartment, and the sun's coming in the window. It's very, it gives you that hopeful feeling to it,
Mm.
but what's unique about this, and one thing I really love that they've captured in the animation is when it first started out, that opening scene, you kind of come in soaring over the city,
Mm.
and you on the way the city's laid out, you're like, okay, we're on Coruscant. Okay, we're starting on Coruscant, and eventually we'll work our way. We knew we were going to be on Janix because that they talked about that in some of the pre-interviews and everything. So we knew Janix was going to be the main planet. But I was, okay, we're getting a little bit of Coruscant. That's cool. That's cool. Maybe we're going to see how he escapes or something. No, we're on Janix right off the bat. And but the way they painted it, the visual creation of Janix itself, to me, especially as you go through these two episodes and you see the cityscape. There's one shot that you see where you got this massive cityscape that looks like Coruscant, then you got a river running through it.
Mm.
And I'm like, it's like the best of both worlds. You got Coruscant and Naboo all in one.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. Um, and I love the animation they did in this. To me, this animation is, every show they've done, they've gotten better and better when it comes to animating these shows. In Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, you get in the Bad Batch, you get Clone Wars season 7.
Mhm.
Every step is you could see the improvement in the process and in their makeup, but it is just it's a visually cinematic and stunning
Mm.
for me in this. And that's one thing I really love about it. And we also get a good variety of characters as well
Mm.
in this. Of course, we get Maul. Of course, everybody knows Maul. Everybody loves Maul. We know Rook Kast, who is in previous Star Wars, so
Mhm.
that's no stranger there. But then we get a whole series of new characters, uh, which is fun. We have Lawson, Brendan Lawson, the detective who's hunting him down, and of course his droid partner Two Boots. Great pair, fun pair too, because you have Lawson who's very serious, and then you've got Two Boots, which almost reminds me a little bit of a 3PO because he's kind of like, all right, we got this, we got this. Okay, we got to call the Empire. No, we're not going to
Right.
call the Empire. But protocol says, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to wait. Okay, but it's not protocol.
Yeah. He's
It's,
different.
yeah, yeah, it's like he's there to try to keep Lawson in line, but he fails miserably. Um, um, but then we get these new characters, a couple new characters. We get our Jedi
Mm.
and our Padawan. Uh, Devon is Izara, I believe is the Padawan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But then we have the Master Iko Diodaki. Iko Diodaki. Say that 5 times real fast and
Yeah.
go
Yeah. You'll mess it up fast.
real fast. But these are incredible characters in my eyes, especially um, we see a very complicated character in Devon who's kind of torn between the way she's been trained and wanting to, live her life, live a life, come out of hide. She doesn't want to hide. And you kind of feel that through her actions, and is not fully is ready to branch out from, the Jedi code and everything. You see that when she steals a piece of fruit to feed her master. I mean, it's one of those things. But then you have Master Daki, uh, who, of course, is a very unique character in and of himself, aka Jedi Master Lizardhead. Um, he is very, he has a very, he has a very Yoda
Yeah.
feel to him. I
Yeah.
don't know if you got that, David. I felt a very much a Yoda presence. He's walking slow. He's carrying it
Mhm.
with, he has his walking stick. He's
Yeah.
walking slow, almost like he's struggling to walk. But then when he jumps into action, he's like flipping and swinging and flipping ships. I mean, it's incredible. It's like watching Yoda at the end of episode two. But what are your thoughts on these new characters that we have gotten in this series, and who's your favorite so far?
Yeah, no, I was going to say to you about, Master Daki. He even height wise, I think he's probably a little taller than Yoda, but he's not tall, right? He doesn't seem super tall.
Well,
I don't think, right? I was trying to remember. I just watched. Is he shorter than Devin?
he's a little shorter than Devin, yes.
Yeah.
But
So
being
yeah,
taller than Yoda is like
it's not
not
hard to do,
hard to do. I
right?
mean, that's
Yeah. But like you said, he moves slowly, has that
yeah.
stick, but then all of a sudden he's flipping and flying around and all that kind of stuff. But you know, uh, I have them here. I'll show you. So I have both issues, issue 1 and 2 of Shadow of Maul, not Maul, Shadow Lord, Shadow of Maul, the Marvel comic.
When did
Um,
when did the
yeah,
second issue come out?
yesterday on Wednesday the
Okay. I
8th.
was gonna say
So
because I went by Mike's place on Tuesday because I hadn't been there in a while,
yeah, yeah.
and it wasn't there. I'm like, that was not in my pickup. So
That's right. Yeah, so I did today, and I read it, and I bring this up to as part of the just to let people know it's out there. It is a
mhm,
5 issue, and it does say it here on the cover. It says prelude to the upcoming show on Disney Plus. So it says it right on the cover, and it does give you, starts off and helps you to know who Brander Lawson is a bit,
mhm,
not fully. But in this second episode or second issue, you start to get to know who is, Demas and Vario, who you see in really the second episode to a large extent, right? With these 2 episodes, and so you get to know them a little bit. And I like these characters, and um, I like Brander Lawson
mhm,
as a character. I think in the StarWars.com, they describe him, and he does have his wife. There's the picture at the police station. You see him and his wife and the son Riley, and so it sounds like they've had a falling out and stuff like that. Um, but I like him as a character and how he wants. It sounds like to do the right thing, but just and truly doesn't trust the Empire, but doesn't quite want to do protocol, like you said, like Two Boots. It's funny. Um, And watching the episodes again tonight, buddy, I looked, I'm like, oh, wait, Two Boots has boots on. And the other
yep,
choice too. I was like,
yep,
wait, because I watched it. And even in the comic, I went back to the comics tonight
mhm,
and I'm like, and I didn't even see that the first time reading him. I'm like, oh my gosh, and he's drawn and animated the exact same way. So I'm getting a kick out of him. Protocol droids, you and I've seen them, but how do you make them different? You and I, of course,
mhm,
Chopper's the creme de la creme as a murder bot and a murder droid, but how many different ways can you do droids? I
yeah,
like him because he's not quite C3PO, and completely scared and stuff like that, but very helpful. And I have to say this, I do like this whole play between him and Spybot,
yes,
and kind of the tete-a-tete with those two, particularly in the second episode, and trying to outsmart each other. So I do enjoy that. Other characters, well, I do. I like this Rook Kast. We got to see a bit of her in the Siege of Mandalore.
mhm,
And stuff like that. And of course, I love Vanessa Marshall beyond belief. So just to hear her back and voicing is so cool. What other characters? Two Boots, Brandon Lawson, Maul. Oh, Barrio. I think Barrio kind of steals the show as a
yes,
human. He's so good. And So he's a lot of fun, and so it's kind of cool to have a character like that. We'll see how long he lasts. Like Maul said, well, for now, we'll keep you alive for now, and so yeah. Yeah, I would encourage people, pick up the comics. They're kind of fun, uh, and get you introduced to these characters on Janix.
Yeah, yeah, definitely do that. Now that I know second issues out, I'll be running to my comic store this weekend and getting the second one, uh,
That's right. Yeah.
so I can get caught up. But yeah, no, great characters. I love your picks. For me, it's I got a three-way tie for a
Okay.
favorite on mine.
Okay.
Um, it's definitely um, Jedi Master Iko Dio Daki. Iko
Nice.
Daki. Um, Spybot. Love
Oh,
Spybot.
so good.
Um, and honestly, Vario.
Yep.
I love Vario.
Yep.
You hit on all three of those. But he has been so much fun in this. Now, we've talked about these characters, and I got to ask you, my friend,
Mm.
have you looked at the cast list yet?
I have. I looked at it. I'm not fully proficient in all the names. I think it's Gideon something for Devon, right?
Yeah, Gideon
Gideon
Adlon. Yeah.
Adeline, yeah, for her. Saw her interview, her and Sam's when they did that presser with some of the podcasts. I Brander Lawson is a Brazilian actor, right? And he was just in a movie that was nominated for Best Picture. Um,
Yeah.
I don't.
Wagner
I don't.
Morrow is Brenda
Thank
Lawson.
you, thank you. And then your favorite Steve Bloom, I think, is Icarus. Is that right?
Yes, Steve. Yep, Steve is Icarus.
All right. And who do we got beyond that? What are you
Okay.
seeing?
Well, I'm gonna throw you a curveball.
Uh-oh.
In the cast list for these first two episodes, there are two sets of parent and child who do voices in this.
What?
There are two sets of a
Wow.
parent and their child who are doing voices in there. Can you
Oh,
guess?
maybe D. Bradley Baker.
Well, D is in it, yes, but he's not one of the parents.
Oh, okay, because I know his daughter does
Mhm.
voices. Uh, Vanessa Marshall does not have children. I don't believe Sam Witwer has children. Help me, brother. Help me.
Well, you said his name already.
I did. The is it the
You said the name of one of the actors already.
who plays Wagner Moura?
Airbus.
Oh, Steve Bloom. Oh, one of his kids is in there. Nice.
His son Brandon plays Officer Pack in the
No
first
way.
episode. Yes.
That's cool.
The other, you
Okay.
you already mentioned Gideon Adlon as
Yeah.
Devon. Her mom, Pamela, is Rena Soul,
What?
the lady who Brender goes and sees in the club.
No way.
Yes.
Is her last name?
Adlon, Pamela Adlon.
No way. I didn't even pick up on that, brother. Good catch, man.
So but on top of that, you have a lot of other well-known people in here. You mentioned D. Uh,
Mhm.
Andrew Kishno's in here.
Yeah.
He had a part in it. He was in there. Steven Stanton was Marge Krim, the voice of
Oh,
Marge Krim.
yes. He
That was
was before too.
yes, he
Yeah.
was. So he's back. David Collins was the Spybot. Um, but what really surprised me, Iko Diodaki,
Yeah. Who is his
Dennis
brother?
Hay Dennis Haysbert. He has been around forever. He's a well-known actor. Um, he was in, I want to say, well, I'm trying to think of the show he was in. I think he was 24, wasn't he? Yeah, he was 24. He played the president in 24.
That's what I
Um,
heard, but I never watched that series.
he was
Back in the
all
day.
he was also in the movie Major League.
Hmm.
His credits go back decades.
Wow.
I mean, he is just all over the place. I know him, of course, from I don't have never seen 24, but I knew him as the president in 24.
Mm.
But he has done. He's all over the place. He was in the unit, which I did watch. That's how I knew him. Was from the unit, which was a TV
Okay.
show back in the day. He's done voice acting forever in the Justice League and stuff like that. He was in Superman the anime. He did a voice in the animated series of Superman. But he has been
Nice.
all over the place. He was in Return to Lonesome Dove, the miniseries. Major League. He was in Major League, the baseball movie. I mean, and it keeps going back and back. So there's some big names in this show, and I'm very impressed with the cast list that they have given us in just these first two episodes.
Yeah. I feel, Aaron, like because there's been like right 2005 to 2025 is that 20 years of Lucasfilm animation. I feel like they can get almost anybody.
Oh
Not
yeah,
everybody, but almost everybody.
oh yeah,
Right, right. You know, it's impressive. It's impressive.
very much, very much. So all right, well let's keep the ball moving because there's still a lot to cover. One of my favorite scenes in these two episodes is they're in the first episode when Maul is pulling the puppet strings. He's being the puppet master, and he sets up the meeting between Demas and Vario, which ends up turning into a shootout. And Vario, of course, kills Dumas, um, and of course gets caught by the police. But before he gets caught, there's this huge chase through the city in these speeders and ships. Um, okay, not not to harp on anybody's parade here. I love the scene because it reminded very me a lot of some of the chase scenes through the city that you would see in like the Batman movies, like you saw in Dark Knight. Um, but we know for a fact because by now we've already seen them fly. Why are we staying on the road?
Oh, some of the ships you mean, like their
Yes,
ship? Yeah, yeah,
I mean we've
yeah,
seen we had seen multiple times through this episode these ships soar through the air,
yeah,
flying just like they would on Coruscant. But no, in this, we're staying on the road like we would on
yeah, yeah.
like they got four wheels and can't fly. So I'm like, what's up with that?
I don't know. I feel like it just allows them to animate that one just smashing through cars in front of
Oh
us,
my
which is
gosh.
so cool.
It
It's
is
kind of like
so
Batman,
good.
right? Like them when they
Yeah.
smash through cars, and like Joker, in uh, uh, the Christian Bale Batmans,
Yes.
with that and just smashing through cars, which is beyond cool. But I hear you. I think it's
Mhm.
you know it is one of the questions, one of the challenges. Mine is, why does Maul leave Brander Lawson alive? He went through him easy. He, boom, hit him in the face. Obviously blocked his shots with the lights. There's no match. Brander Lawson's no match for
No.
Maul, but he leaves him alive versus impaling him with the lightsaber. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But usually Maul doesn't leave anybody around. Obviously, they had a couple of police bots come in and start shooting at him, but
Still
uh,
wouldn't have stopped them.
that he just deflected him like he does and goes. But there's some questions. There's some questions.
Hmm.
There's little nits to pick, and things like that. But we'll see. It'll play out. Especially with the season two being announced, and I've heard a number of
Yes.
people saying. I mean, that's been officially announced. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I saw a video of Sam Witwer saying that it's been announced, but I've heard some people talking about season three, maybe a three
Oh,
season kind of thing.
I'll
So
take it.
Yeah,
After 2 episodes, I'll take it. I'm not gonna.
absolutely. Yeah.
I was when they announced season two, I was a little hesitant because I'm like, yes, all right, season two. Hopefully, this is good. um,
Yeah.
so I'm always hesitant when they announce a second season before the first one comes out, because what if it bombs?
Sure.
Um, and so I'm always a little hesitant, but I mean, what we've seen so far, I'll
Yeah.
take a second season. And if there's going to do a third, I will take a third. Um,
I could see him doing it and really filling out because that's why I really liked at the beginning of the episode here that you set the timeline. I'm so glad you did that. That it's
yes.
just shortly after Order 66. Of course, you and I saw Maul escaping that Republic cruiser
Mhm.
on that like a Republic gunship. He escapes, and then of course Ahsoka and Rex have to survive crashing on the planet. And it just
Mhm.
was some of the greatest animation ever to that point, right? And so that's where we last see Maul.
Yeah.
And so we know where the end point is in Rebels with him fighting Kenobi, with Stephen Stanton doing the voice of Obi-Wan. Um, so I could see 3 seasons going in between here, and even, encompassing what we see when Ray Park shows up as Maul in Solo, right?
Mhm.
And stuff like that. So I could see 3 seasons moving into that, and I have other ideas too.
Oh yeah. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. You brought up Solo because we know Solo takes place. Well, I think it was what 10 years before A New Hope.
Maybe so. It's in there. It's with, and of course Sam does the voice though,
Yeah.
right, of
Yeah.
Maul, and it's him as the head of not the head of Crimson
And
Dawn.
Dawn.
Yeah, yeah, and so obviously, are they going to end this series, season 2 or season 3, with him getting stranded on Malachor? They don't have to, but that's where I think they would. I think that's what they would go up to, or maybe just before. I mean, they can do what they want.
Yeah.
There's space, there's room, but that would be interesting to see because remember, he has no ship
Hmm.
on Malachor. And in fact, on Pot of Rebellion, they just wrapped up season 2 with Twilight of the Apprentice
Apprentice.
and Maul there. So
Yep.
I could see him going season 2, season 3 up to there. And isn't Rebels is overtwined with Andor, and they lead up to
Yeah. 5 years.
yeah,
Or
episode 4,
yeah.
so that's what I'm anticipating if they want to do it. Again, they don't have to, but they could.
Because here's where I'm kind of spinning, depending on how far they take this
Right.
and what kind of time frame we're dealing with through this whole series. Could we see the return of Dryden Voss
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with Crimson Dawn before he gets axed by Amelia Clark, Kira
Right. Right.
in Solo? Um,
And see
will
her animated in this.
Exactly. Um, you, are we going to start to see some of these characters? That's one thing I was curious about when you started leading into
Mm-hmm.
time frame. Could we possibly see this going forward? You know, we don't like speculate, but we're just speculating anyway. Um, it's hard not to with a show like
Oh,
this.
well, and it's fun because I mean, look, it's not like everyone knows where this ends with Maul and Rebels. I mean, it's not, everything in between. It can be fun, but it's not gonna to spoil the ending for Maul and Rebels, the Twin Sons episode, the famous Twin Sons episode. So, but no, those are things I think about, and you even got me thinking about even an animated Solo in like you said with Kira and Dryden Boss and stuff. I mean, again, there's a lot to play with here, and again, this is where Star Wars, George setting the precedent for having space in between things. You allow creatives to play.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
much, very much.
Yeah.
And you can do more with these animated shows
Yep.
because time isn't the issue.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can animate these characters as young or as old as they need to be.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if your actor has aged 30 years in the interim, they could still voice the 25-year-old selves. I mean, it can happen. So there's a lot they can do. There is so much
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
do. So I am very excited to see how that plays out there, and where that goes. So, but let's
Yeah.
keep on rolling as we go through here. Um, Now, it's interesting. One of the interesting storylines through this that we've started to see playing out in these first two episodes, and I got a feeling we'll be seeing for pretty much the rest of the season, and see probably even well into season two, is the morality battle with Devon.
Yeah.
The choice between good and bad, the choice between light and the dark, Maul and her master. Um, and we're starting to see that play out already in these first two episodes. We see it before she even meets Maul, where she steals the fruit and gets arrested. I mean,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
it's already there. What are your thoughts on how this is going to play out, and how this exploration of her morality being basically a huge linchpin in this plot so far?
Yeah. No, besides Maul's, cleaning house, like you said, as a good mafia boss does, come back, clean house. It's this story, right? It's doing that, and then it really does feel like Maul moving towards trying to, and he says it in these episodes, trying to get an apprentice and create a weapon to help him go after even more people that
Mhm.
wronged him. And Sidious is named, which is like, wow, because as soon as he said that, I immediately went back to season 5. I don't know if it's, what is it, Lawless or Shades of Reason.
Oh,
It's when Palpatine shows up on Mandalore,
yeah.
and he just opens a can on Maul and Savage. So what I'm confused about is how, even if you train her, you had Savage with you. Maybe you train her even better than Savage was trained, and maybe the two of you can take Sidious. But I don't know. I don't know that Maul would know about Vader. All right, so this
Well,
can blow all this up, right?
yeah, but
You know.
did was but I did, maybe I just completely misunderstood. Maul didn't train uh Ventress.
Or Savage, I mean.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
was Dooku.
Dooku. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just
So
make
so that's, yeah, and I'm with you on that. And that's where I think, I mean, he's a big, powerful brute, but perhaps, and continuing like what you're saying is, if Maul could train her in a way that's better than what Savage was.
okay.
Now that could be interesting. But
Savage
again, the
Opress, yeah.
force lightning and
Oh,
just,
Savage.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
Savage.
why I don't you said Savage and I heard Ventress.
Yeah, well, you and I
I'm
saw Nika
sorry.
Futterman as well. I mean, that we had a great time with Nika as well in Ocala Comic Con. So yes, it's understandable. But no, I'm just saying at the end of that episode, I watched it again, and so I don't know if Maul's under this delusion of, well, let me find someone, and maybe more than just her. Can he get several people to try to help him defeat Sidious? So that it's a tall task. And so, and of course, we know it doesn't happen because Sidious is around until Return of the Jedi,
Mhm.
and then even Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. So, but to go back to the morality play, this again, this is right up my alley. I think back in February when I last recorded with you, I did promise that I would do some mini psychology corners or something, but my thoughts were this, and just watching the episodes again, watching Maul, like watching the scene that you said, setting the stage that she's struggling with this. They are both hungry. Do you do right and wrong? You and I have talked about one of the biggest things for humans is not doing right or wrong when people are watching, but how do you act when people are not watching,
Mhm.
right? And then just watching again the episodes tonight when Maul is looking through the window, talking to her, and says, this it's not as simple as good and evil.
No.
And of course, in my head, I'm like, yeah, it pretty much is, you know. And again, we can continue to discuss this, and we will, right? This whole morality thing, right and wrong. I've brought it up on multiple episodes of Star Wars reactions, right, over the
Hmm.
years. When we're in these different series, and you know, let me just say this, and then, like I said, we can continue it in future ones. But heard someone talk about how in the original trilogy, good guys are wearing white, Luke and Leia and all that. Even Han's got his vest on, but bad guys wearing black. Emperor in black, Vader in black. Um, I know the stormtroopers were in white, but we knew who the bad guys were and the good guys. It was
Yeah.
it was not like, oh hey, I'm confused. Who's the good guys? Who's the bad guys?
Yeah.
And then when George does the prequels, those lines are blurred,
Hmm.
right? And I watched Revenge of the Sith again. Oh, when did I watch it? Back in March,
Okay.
and just you know, Anakin saying, on the lava there, talking to Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan's like, the Sith are evil. He goes, in my view, the Jedi are evil. And is it the Separatists? Is it the clones? It's so everyone's so confused. Palpatine's got the whole galaxy at war with each other, and clarity is gone, right? And so you have two um trilogies that, I think George just, wanted to play with that a bit, but George has always got this issue of morality throughout his movies, right? And and so I've talked on previous episodes here, and I'll just leave our listeners with this, is again to bring up the question and let them mull, not maul, but mull this over. Is there ultimate truth? Is there right and wrong, good and evil? Maul just said in the second episode, there's not. It's not that simple. So, is there ultimate truth, or is there moral relativism?
Hmm.
So,
Well,
just let people think about that one for a second. So,
well,
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because you, that is something we see
Mhm.
throughout the throughout Star Wars. We see it with we see it with uh, Sidious and Anakin. We see it with Dooku and Obi-Wan. We see it uh,
Yes.
uh, with and all these characters where these bad guys are trying to exert their influence over
Mhm.
the good guy. There is
Mhm.
this exploration of morality and what's good for them may not. I mean, even looking at the separatists, do we believe they were they're set up to be the bad guys?
Right.
But they believe they had the moral high ground. They believe they were right. Doesn't make
Right.
them wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there is a uh, always going to be that question,
Right.
and the exploration of it in this series is going to has got the potential to really blow the lid off.
Yeah. You got me thinking about an episode, I think, where Ahsoka goes and talks to Lux Bonteri. Is it
Yes,
right? What, heroes on both sides, right?
yes,
And ultimately, I heard someone say the separatists were actually right.
yeah,
Like the Republican Sidious is evil.
yeah,
And we kind of saw, oh no, the separatists are bad and the clones are good. And of course, they're all caught up in it.
yeah.
But it creates interesting discussions, and when there is all of this tension, we see groups
Mhm.
like, I think about Death Watch, in
Yes.
some of these episodes, um, and then seeing some of these Mandos say, well, what are we gonna do? Okay, let's join Maul. And then they're Maul DeLoreans, and see, okay,
Yeah.
not separatists, not Republic. Let's join this guy.
Yeah.
Let's just go to whoever's going to win this thing.
Yes.
And so it's fascinating. Like I said, when they set the stage with the whole fruit thing at the beginning, and what is right, what's wrong, we're going to be fine. And she's like, I'm just tired of seeing you hungry. I'm tired of begging. And then towards the end of the second episode, where you see Maul say, this, it's time for you to see the galaxy for what it truly
Truly
is.
is.
Right. And boy, we can talk for the next 5, 6 hours on just that statement. Not just as it applies to the Star Wars galaxy, but to our
Mhm.
own planet Earth. So much there to cover. I think just that's why I said at the beginning of my initial reactions, there's going to be so much food for fodder to discuss. And so, yeah, psychology corners are going to be probably pretty easy throughout this one.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of great things to cover through this series and a lot of great things to come. I have no doubt we will have plenty to discuss going forward. Um, but for now, let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. Anything else you wanted to hit on before we go into final reactions?
Anything else? Oh, I know. Just real quick, I encourage people to go to Pot of Rebellion. Go back to, I think it's February 14th and March 3rd or 4th. Those 2 episodes. They have a two-part interview with Sam Witwer talking about Maul, talking about some of this morality, and it's just so cool to hear Sam interviewed, anyways. And I would encourage people to do that. They did that just before they did a two-part review of Twilight of the Apprentice.
Nice. Yep.
So I would encourage people again. I showed you the comics, and
Yep.
I would listen to those 2 episodes if people want to dive deeper into Sam Witwer and Maul and stuff like that.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Very good. The only other thing I want to admit on before we go into final reactions is I have, thanks to Spybot, a new word added to my vocabulary. Do you know which one it is?
He has a couple different ones, right, that are pretty good.
He's got a couple of going, but my favorite so far is Boschketo.
Bush.
Boschketo. Of course, he says that, of course, as the meeting for, or as he finds out, as he's spying on Demas and finds out they're going to have that meeting.
Yeah,
Goes,
nice.
he takes off and goes flying away, and he's like, Boschketo.
It's
Okay.
almost like I'm out of here. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, we need that as our outro, man. You and me
I
both
know,
saying
right?
Bush keto. Yeah.
All right. There we go. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into final reactions. Fantastic 2 episodes. Great way to start kick off the series, in my opinion. I was so much. Again, you could tell this is a Filoni operation. So much in such a little bit of time frame, and I loved every minute. And this is one of those, and like every other series, this is something you can watch over and over again, and you will still pick up on things you missed. So fantastic opportunities there. Great, great, great series. I am so looking forward to it for next week for episode 3 and 4. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Animation is absolutely beautiful. Kinder's killed it. I mean, there's not enough great things I can say about these 2 episodes, and the way it was painted, the lighting and shading and everything was just, wow, chef's kiss. Absolutely perfect. So, all right. All right. David, how about you? What's your final reactions, my friend?
Well, great start. And I'm not a big Rotten Tomatoes guy. I don't really look at that stuff. I'm like, if I want to see a movie, I'm going to go see it. If I don't want to see it, I'm not going to see it. But I think it got 100 or something, some unbelievable number, with a bunch of different critics. And so something on StarWars.com, the highest rated Star Wars. I know, I guess would it be series on Disney Plus so far, perhaps, over the last how many years. And so that's high praise. And you and I also would add to it. Um, Going back to that part I mentioned about going to Pot of Rebellion and hearing Sam's interview again, two parts, all super entertaining. But Sam said when one of his insights is when he sees a show, a TV show, a movie, a piece of art, he's like, I'm just trying to tell myself to enjoy it. But he says when I work on something like this, and I think he's a producer or executive producer on this. I don't think he has been before, but he says I'm brutal on it, going through it and just wanting it to be as good as possible.
Mhm.
Um, that presser that they did, when you see Brad Rao, the showrunner,
Yeah.
um, talking, Athena Portillo and Matt Miknevitz, I think it's Miknevitz. They talked about going through each episode and going through it again and going through it again. And Athena Portillo was talking about just making sure everything looked right. Do the assets look right? Are we moving in the right direction? And I was watching with that in mind, what those three really head people, those three, and I'm like, they've really done that. I mean, it's so tight, it's so well done, and I'm so impressed. And then like with what Sam said, he says, I'm brutal on myself. I want this to sound as good as possible and be as good as possible. And I think they're going to deliver on this, man. I really do. So super excited versus being like, it was meh, meh, right? Meh. That's not what we had. So I'm excited for the rest of this. Like you, I'm ready for Monday and episodes 3 and 4, and looking forward to recording with you again.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it too. And we will be back next week with those episodes. So don't you worry. Don't you fear. Star Wars reactions will be here. But for now, let's wrap things up. Of course, we do want to hear from you and find out what is going on in your neck of the woods. Let us know what you thought of Maul, the first two episodes of Maul, and what you think of the episodes going forward. Multiple ways you can do that. Of course, you can always hit us up on any of our social media. All right, I'm a bit rusty. Let me make sure I get this right. We are on Facebook and X at Carabast, at SW Reaction Pod. Not at Carabast, it's at SW Reactions Pod. Then we're on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Pinterest, Tumblr, all at SW Reactions. You can email us at swreactions@gmail.com. And of course, you can always leave us a voicemail, Star Wars Reactions, or excuse me, speakpipe.com/Star Wars Reactions. Carabast, I jacked that up. Out of practice, man.
Oh, I know. There's a lot there. There's a
There
lot there.
is a lot there, a lot there. So if somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, David, how would they go about doing that?
I mean, I think the best way right now, well, two, I think, just at David Motters for the Instagram. I'm on there and I'm always looking around, and I would say well, let me slow down. Every time I say it, show socials. If you send any of them there that Aaron just said, Aaron's always gotten that stuff over to me. So that's it. How about you?
Well, I will definitely get it to you. The best way, of course, for me is, of course, the uh, you can hit me up on X and mostly Instagram nowadays, honestly.
Yeah.
At TA Harris 121079. One thing I do want to mention, because we did do a quiet launch on this about a month ago, but we haven't done an episode to talk about it, is we now have a T Public shop where you can get all of your reactions merch. You get t-shirts, hats, whatever. Um, just go to tpublic.com and search for Reactions Outposts, and you will find all of your reactions goodies. There will also be a link in our socials, and of course, you can find the link on all of our social medias as well. So go check that out and see what you can find. You may want to pick up a shirt or something. I know our buddy Daz did that over in Wales, so
Yes, he
he
he did. He hit us up, man. He
he
was
hit us up
awesome.
first person to jump in the boat and order out.
Yes.
So those are there, and of course I am already got a couple ready for Christmas. some new designs lined up for Christmas. So be on the lookout for those. But hey, they're available now. Get them while they're hot. Get them while you can. So,
Nice.
then of course, David and I, we're still planning on being at Ocala Comic Con, which is already shaping
Ooh.
up to be a doozy
Ooh.
already.
Oh man, I'm
So
ready.
excited about that so far.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that once we get closer. But the next place we're actually going to be is Disney Springs, May 21st,
Yes.
watching the premiere of
Yes.
Mando and Grogu.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm so
That is going to
excited.
be so much fun. I am so looking forward to that. So if you are in Disney Springs during that time frame, hit us up. I'll have a little bit of swag with me just in case y'all are there. But hit
Nice.
me up and we will hope to see you there. But Mando and Grogu, May 21st, will be there at Disney Springs. So, well, David,
Well, we're done, right?
no.
One of these times I'll hear you say yes, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
No, it'll never happen. We can't, yes, I know we've been gone for a while, so technically I should be doing what, 2 months worth of dad jokes,
Oh
but
no.
I love y'all and I will spare y'all, and just do our regular dad joke of the week. And that's it. I got this week's Star Wars dad joke of the week. David, are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. Why can't Sidious have a dog?
Why can't Sidious have a dog?
Because he's afraid he'll get mauled.
Oh, that's good one. That's good. Perfect for tonight, man. Wow. That's actually good. That's actually good.
He's afraid he'll get mauled.
That's almost, because it's good, it almost doesn't qualify as a dad joke.
I
but
appreciate that.
That's so good. Touche, man. That was a good one.
Grazie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, David, buddy, it has been so good being behind the mic with you again.
Oh, awesome, man. Love it.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us and joining us again. Promise you it will not be so long next time, because we will be back next week with episodes 3 and 4 of Maul, Shadow Lord. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you drop us a line with your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. And like I said, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're praying for y'all, wishing y'all the best every day of everything. And just remember, with all the craziness going on in the world, just do something nice for somebody. It'll make the world better. So remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.